Alright, so you've just picked up an awesome Mk7 Fiesta ST. You're really enjoying it, you really like it. But now you're thinking, how can I make it even better? So the Fiesta ST really is a great car out of the box. Like, as standard, they are amazing cars, they've got a great chassis on them, they handle really well, really fun to drive. But there is a few areas where you can improve them, and there's a lot of different modifications. So yes, that's right, in this video we're going to be going over the 5 modifications that I recommend. The first modifications that you should do to a Fiesta ST. Now these modifications are not only going to improve the visual look of the car, but it's also going to improve the performance, and it's going to give you the best value for your money. And they are also modifications that I genuinely do recommend. I have done a previous video on the first 5 mods that I did myself to this car, but that was a while ago. I've owned the car for 3 years now, so I've done quite a few modifications since then, and I know a bit more what I'm talking about, and also, and these modifications are actually the first 5 that I would recommend to do. Different to what I did, but now that I've owned the car for more longer, it's what I recommend. Alright, so before we do actually get into this video, I do just want to say, make sure you do your own research. So obviously, this video is me recommending modifications. So don't go out there, blind and buying certain mods, certain brands. Go and do your own research. Make sure that these parts are right for you and right for your car and your preferences. Another thing to mention is also, I know that I have quite a few viewers that aren't from the UK. Most of them are from the UK, so every mod that I mention will be absolutely fine. But I know I get some viewers from Europe, different countries in Europe. I even get some from America and even South Africa. So wherever you're from, obviously make sure you check it's safe to do so, and also legal with the law to actually modify your car and do certain modifications, because I know the laws are obviously different in different countries. Everything that I'll mention in this video is safe to do in the UK, but I'm not sure about other countries. So let's get to it then. The first 5 modifications you should do to a Fiesta ST. Number 1, lowering springs. So, lowering springs. What are they? They're a part of your suspension, and they lower your car. Let's keep it simple. Now, as we know, standard ride height for the Fiestas, there is an arch gap. It's quite big, bigger than obviously what it is on this car because I've lowered it. But while it's not the worst arch gap, especially compared to some other cars, it is still quite bad, and well, let's reduce it. Now, not only do lowering springs actually reduce your arch gap, obviously it lowers your car, so it lowers your centre of gravity. It improves your handling as well, another great feature of lowering springs. So as you can see, I do have lowering springs on my car, that's why I'm recommending them. And I'm just going to show you the arch gap on the fronts, and I'll show you the rears as well. You can see the rear just there. Sits really nicely on the springs that I have, and I will mention the springs later on. But there's a look at how the car sits. Now, Fiesta STs do handle great as standard, but we can enhance that with some lowering springs. Now, with the springs that I've got, the car does handle really well. It reduces the body roll, you can go into corners, power through them, the car feels planted, and it just increases the fun. Another great thing about them, they're cost effective. They aren't super expensive, like say for example, air suspension. Spend thousands of pounds on air suspension or hydraulics, or even a set of coilovers. So compared to all of that, lowering springs, definitely best bang for your buck. But at the end of the day, it does all depend on what you want out of your car. Do you want a nice soft suspension like air suspension, for example, or do you want something that's going to handle really well for lowering springs, coilovers? And another factor is obviously, how do you like your fitment? Me personally, I like the arch and then the top of the tyre. That's my favourite type of fitment, and the wheels to be nice and flush with the body. But everyone has their own preferences. Some people like the cars to have tucked fitment where the half the wheel or tyre is tucked into the arches. Some people like to have camber. I like mine nice and flush. So the lowering springs that I do actually have are the Catback red lines. Now Catback do 2 separate ones that I know of. They do the standard ones and also the red line lowering springs. So if you like how my car sits, get the red lines. If you want it to be a little bit higher, then get the standard eye-back lowering springs. There is other brands available. Other brands to mention are, people like HR. I know they're quite a popular brand, but again, do your own research and figure out what type of fitment you want. So what are the pros and what are the cons of lowering springs? Pros: makes the car sit lower, looks better in my opinion, also handles much better than standard, and they're a cost-effective way of lowering your car compared to other things like coilovers or air suspension. Now cons: obviously you're making your car handle better, it's going to be more stiff, so your ride is going to be a bit more stiff and potentially more uncomfortable. However, with the springs that I actually have, I found them to be more comfortable than the standard ST springs, which is quite a surprise, but for other brands I just can't actually give an opinion on because I've never had any other brand of lowering springs. Now for the second modification I would recommend to do is wheel spacers. So we're sticking with suspension / wheel sort of fitment sort of thing. Now what wheel spacers do is essentially they push your wheels further out, so they stick further out of the arch, and essentially it fills the arch up, whereas before they'd be more further tucked into the arches. And like I mentioned before, how I like my fitment is nice and flush. So as you can see, we've got the arch and then we've got the wheel, rather than the wheel be further tucked into the arch essentially. I keep on saying arch. But yeah, wheel spacers, to give you a more wider stance, makes the car look better in my opinion, more aggressive, more wider stance, and also again helps your car handle a little bit better because obviously you've got that wider track. So just to show you, as you can see there, we've got the wheel spacers. I've got them both at the rear and also front of the car, but as you can see, it just fills out that arch a lot better than standard, because as standard the wheel would be so much more tucked into the arch. I'll show you a view from the rear. As you can see just there, top of the wheel still goes into the arch. So yeah, nice aggressive wide stance. I'll just walk back a little bit here so you can see both the rear wheels just there. Really nice looking stance in my opinion. Notice as well these diffuser fins are quite bent. Well, the two on the left are bent, the others are straight, so I do actually need to sort that out because that looks quite terrible. Now you're probably going to be asking the question, what size spacers? So if you've not made that comment already, I'm actually going to talk about it right now. So at the fronts, we've got 15 mils, at the back, we've got 20 mil. And the brand that I have is eye-back. Again, keeping with the theme, we've got the eye-back springs, and we've got the eye-back spacers. So that's what I recommend. I've had these spacers on for over 3 years, not had any issues whatsoever. But again, do your own research and make sure you do get some good quality ones, because if you get bad quality ones, it can cause vibrations, and we don't want that. Now, just to mention another bad thing about having spacers is obviously because you've got your wheel a bit more poked out, as you can see at the back, more tyres on show, so it flicks up more dirt. So areas like here are going to get more dirty more quickly and more easily. And again, at the front, it's going to flick up a bit more dirt, obviously at the side of the car. My car's filthy, it's not been washed for a couple of weeks, so it's dirty anyway, it needs a wash anyway. But yeah, it's just another minor thing, a bad point, I guess, about wheel spacers. But to me, I'm not too fussed about that. And I guess another good thing to mention about wheel spacers is they're a cheap modification. I actually got the pair of mine, so both the fronts and the rears, for only 50 quid off Facebook Marketplace, which is a bargain. So modification number three, un deux trois, that I recommend is the exhaust. So get yourself a Catback exhaust system. That's number 3 that I recommend. And let's be honest, the standard exhaust, it's muted. It sounds really quiet. And if you get a aftermarket exhaust system, it's going to make that sound so much better. It's going to give it a more sporty, more aggressive tone. Now, I do believe I actually have some clips of my standard ST exhaust, so I threw them on the screen now. And I'll also show some videos of the Miltech exhaust system that I've currently got in the car. So some more reasons why you'd get a performance exhaust system is because of performance. Obviously, you're going to have a bit more increase in your performance, a bit more power. It allows the engine to breathe more easily. And another reason, well, they just look good. Stainless steel exhaust, you can't go wrong. Always looks better than, just an old stock exhaust. And also, typically, they'll come with some bigger exhaust tips that also have quite a nice logo on them, which is just cool. So let's talk about brands. What I've got the Miltech exhaust system, the non-resonated version. There's many different versions of it, but that's the version that I have. There's many different brands as well, so again, do your own research, pick what you think sounds the best. Obviously, it's hard to tell through a video, it's always best to get it with your own ears. So if there's any people that you know that have Fiesta STs, maybe go ask them, see what they have, see what theirs sounds like, or if you just, go to some car meets. But yeah, like I said, there is many different brands out there. Obviously, I've got the Miltech. There's brands like Cobra. I know they're quite a popular one. There's also Scorpion, another really popular one, especially in this country. But there's plenty of different options out there. Again, just do your own research. And like I mentioned, not only is there different brands, there's also different versions. So there's the resonated versions and also the non-resonated versions. If you don't know what that means, basically, resonated means more quiet and non-resonated means more loud. Now, although mine is the non-resonated version, it's not too loud. If you want a car that's your daily car, for example, like mine, and if you have neighbours that might be a little bit picky, or if you just don't want to have a headache every time you drive your car, I do actually recommend getting the non-resonated version for the Miltech because it sounds good when you want it to sound good. When you're accelerating, you can hear it. When you rev your car, you can hear it. But if you're just cruising, if you're just on the motorway, for example, doing 60, 70, 80 miles per hour, cruising in 6th gear, you won't even hear it. It doesn't drone. So I highly recommend this exhaust. It's perfect for me. It's perfect for a daily car. It's loud when you want it to be loud, and it's quiet when you want it to be quiet. But of course, there is the other versions like the resonated version, which I assume would just be like the stock exhaust. It'd just be quiet. So if you wanted an exhaust for the performance gain and also because it looks better than the standard exhaust, but you don't want it to actually sound any louder, then just get the resonated version. Another thing I guess I should mention is obviously exhaust. They're quite expensive. It's a full exhaust system, so it's going to be expensive. But obviously the price will change depending on which brand. But like what I did with my wheel spacers, you might be able to find an exhaust system secondhand for a really good deal. Or maybe even find one in the sale that's brand new, like what I did. We are losing daylight quite quickly, so let's go on with this. Modification number 4. It's an induction kit. So previously we had the exhaust, helps the engine breathe better. Now let's help the engine bring in more cold air. An induction kit does just that. So as you can see, I do have the AirTech induction kit, got the stage 2 one I think it's called, which I quite like the look of, which is why I got it. And I also, again, did my own research on these. There's plenty of different brands and there's plenty of different kits that you can get for these cars. The good thing about this one, obviously, you've got your blue hose, matches the car. I think it looks quite nice, visually pleasing in the engine bay. I know it needs a clean. You also get your heat shield here, which not only looks good, but also serves a purpose. It keeps the warm air from the engine away from the filter. So it helps obviously keep the filter cool, keeps it cool around this area to suck in that nice cold air into the engine, producing more power. And I think this actually might have been one of the first modifications that I did to the car. I can't quite remember. It was, like I say, 3 years ago. So I've had this exact cone filter induction kit on the car for 3 years now. It's looking quite old, quite dirty, quite beaten up. So I do actually have a new one of these on its way. So I might do a video showing you how to install one. Now, of course, not only does it look great, not only does it increase the power with obviously a map as well, it also sounds incredible. So what I'm going to do now is throw a few clips up of how it sounds. Now I think I do have some clips of when I first installed it, so I'll throw them on the screen. And I'll also show you guys some clips of the car with the blower valve, because that's one of the modifications I've done since. Which what that does is essentially it gives the turbo that turbo flutter sound. And now that leads me to modification number 5, the final one on this video, which would be a remap. So yeah, that's right, it's time for a remap. We've got the exhaust, we've got the induction kit. It's time for the first remap. Now, if you were to go to any of these tuning companies, there's plenty out there. You'd find stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. There's plenty of different options, but what we've got is stage 1. So that's the first entry level sort of tuning package. So on a stage 1 remap, the power increase might not look huge, but you will feel the difference. What these remaps do is change the way that the cars feel, the way that they drive. You feel more responsive, more throttle responsive, they feel more eager, you got more power, more torque through the rev range. What they do is make them feel more alive, they make them feel more awake, and of course more exciting. So yeah, what a tune does is it essentially tells the ECU to wake up and basically just optimizes all the parts that you've done. So it gets the most out of your intake, it gets the most out of your exhaust, all the parts that you've done, it optimizes them, gets the most out of them, and produces the most power in the safest way possible. Now, a big thing that I do stress when obviously messing with this sort of thing is do go to a reputable, someone that has experience in tuning these cars. There's plenty of different big names out there, so do your own research. Make sure you go to someone that you can trust and someone that knows what they're doing. Now, personally, with this car, when I first had it, it already had a stage 1 map on it, which was by Mk7, which I think are probably the safest bet to go with for Mk7, because originally when these cars first came out, you could get a few Mk7 packages and they were actually Ford warranty approved. But of course, there is many different tuning companies out there. There's Collins Performance, there's Perron, there's Revo or Revo, however you pronounce it. There's Lard Performance, there's loads of different companies out there, so do your own research. The company that I currently have and the software that I currently have on my car is the Collins Performance Stage 2 Plus sort of map. It's called Stage 2E, I think it's called. But like I say, just do your own research with this sort of stuff and make sure you don't go to some dodgy geezer that will just blow your car up. Make sure you go to someone that knows what they're doing. But that is where we're going to call it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know if you would have a different list to me. But yeah, just give me some feedback. Let me know what you thought of the video. And if you haven't already, go check out my other videos. Got plenty of different ones on the Fiesta ST. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Hit that notification as well so you don't miss any uploads. Plenty of different Fiesta ST videos on this channel and automotive content. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Again, some feedback in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one.